If you cannot measure it, you cannot improve it. Measurement is the first step that leads to control, that leads to improvement. One accurate measurement is worth 1,000 expert opinions. There are so many amazing quotes on measurement because it's so essential in your life. You know, if you really want to grow and evolve, measuring what you're growing and evolving into is essential. You know, but most people, of course, look at measurement as this sort of gray area, you know, really easy to measure or really complex that's hard to stay consistent with. But measuring is the ultimate way to build motivation within you. Okay, measuring everything will begin to give you the markers, give you the information that will allow you to evolve and grow towards increasing a number, decreasing a number, having more of a number, all of which will be the motivating force that continues to drive you and excite you or bum you out when you're missing your numbers, or a thrill when you beat those numbers faster than you expected. Welcome to Build with Rob. It is your boy, Rob Dyrdek. You know what we do down here. We're just pushing out philosophy, the machine mindset. You know, we're all about systematically fusing art, science, and magic, and life and business, and anything that you do. Again, wherever you may listen to this show, you watch it on YouTube. I appreciate you looking at me in this beautiful studio here in Beverly Hills, California. If you listen to the podcast, thank you. Thank you. Please like, subscribe, comment, you know, do whatever you want to do to connect with your boy. Because really, I'm just out here trying to continue to share my way of thinking, my systematic approach to life. Not trying to change your life, hoping that maybe, just maybe, you will hear a nugget that will change you and evolve you just slightly into being a better version of yourself. And today, you know, I really want to talk about measurement, and it's a complex thing because there's so many different ways to do it, you know, and I hit you with a bunch of the more famous quotes, you know, and they're very simple and time tested, you know, but it's the truth is, if you can't measure something, you have no idea how to improve it. You know, you just don't, you know, like if you, you know, if you cannot figure out a way to measure something, you've got to be creative. You know, I use qualitative measurement on a lot of different things about my quality of life, you know, and that's a much more gray area. That's dependent on me and how I feel and my own sort of way of doing the measurement system. And it's different for every single person, you know, because I think, you know, there's a couple other sort of key components where you can get tripped up in measuring things, right? And Seth Godin probably has the best quote that's like, measurement is fabulous. Unless you are busy measuring what is easy to measure rather than what is important, you know, and that's, again, that's on you. That's on you, and you develop the system. And like anything else, you know, getting good at measuring, getting consistent at measuring is a skill you have to build and something that you get better and better at over time. But it is something you have to develop and commit to. And a lot of times, you know, we do like to go to the easiest things to measure rather than the things that are the most important that we can ultimately begin to evolve, make change, and make better or improve, if you will. And, you know, and I'd equate if you looked at the Dyrdek machine, if I measured the success of the Dyrdek machine on how many companies we've created. We've created 18 companies. Look at us. Boom. Easy peasy. If I made a goal like, hey, I'm just going to create 2 companies a year and get to 25 companies, cool. That's not a very important measure because I could create 50 companies that go out of business. I could create 50 companies that are worthless, and now, so when you think about it from that context, well, okay, well then what is the most important, thing that you could measure? Well, I need to measure not only how many companies that I've done, but then the value of those companies, the strength of those companies, and ultimately how much more those companies are worth based off of the investment that I made. And to me, that's tier one, because then tier two is, okay, now you have to look at your entire business of how much money have you invested to have these 18 companies, and then how much money has it returned. And that net number is actually the most important number for me to really, really have an understanding of how successful the Dyrdek machine is. So, that's that idea of, the big difference between measuring what's easy versus what's important, and I think, it's not like, when it comes to sort of how you would measure things in your life, it's still like really about what is important to you. Some things are much easier to measure. You know what I mean? And some things are automatic. What's your favorite thing to measure? Your favorite thing to measure is your Instagram followers, your TikTok followers, your views, your likes. You know what I mean? That's real easy to measure. You may never step on a scale, but you certainly, look, you may never measure your bank account, but when you get your statement each month, it's measured for you. And you can look right at it, and whether you can apply some sort of insight to why you have less money this month and you have not saved any money, and how you're going to change it, you're not going to improve the amount of money that you now have been hit in the face with, that's being measured from your bank statement. And again, measurement is this, it has so many different layers to it. And ultimately, you want to design these sort of key measurements around not only what you want to improve, but what's going to, give you the insight, make you excited, make you motivated, and ultimately, what are you going to actually stay committed to? And for me, from hearing me that I love tracking as many things as I possibly can. You know what I mean? And that's I was not always like this. This is why I say, you do have to grow into it. And keep in mind, even as I have eventually started developing this concept of collecting this qualitative data and asking myself every day how I feel about my life, work, and health, 0 to 10. It took me 5 years of doing it before I did it every day. I had to get better and better and better at it. I would full body composition weigh myself. I have the data of what I've weighed for the last 7 years. But in the first 4 or 5 years, man, when I slipped and I faded, when I was fading on the workouts and the diet, guess what else faded? I started fading on collecting my weight data. So there's big dark periods in it before I began to get consistent with it. And again, look, I can tell you right now, your boy's in a slump. I'm in a slump right now. It may not sound it, it may not look it, but your boy's in a slump. Because I have collected so much data and measured so many aspects of my life for such a long period of time, it is not just a feeling, it is an undeniable slump that your boy's in right now. And, I can tell you, this month, and keep in mind, it's if I collect every single day how I feel about my life, work, and health, that creates a total number. If I, on a monthly average, if I'm above 20, I'm living my best life, right? And I have been above 20 in the quality of my life since January 1st of 2021. So I have been above 20. Focused, rocking it, disciplined up until this last month. It'll be the first time that I dip below 20. Now, when I go to my more quantitative, gamified discipline data, what do? I track every day. Did I get up at 5? Did I meditate? Did I brain train? Did I get in the gym? Did I eat clean? Did I take supplements? Did I not drink? And you can see the correlation in there. What happened? First time I have been in the gym 40% of this month. 40%. Okay. I drank, pretty substantial amount of nights this month. And then what did all that do? That brought the diet down. And then all this together, I can see it in the numbers that I'm slumped. And then my quality of life slumped. And then here I am. You know what I mean? Not sad. And of course, what else? My weight. Right? Then you see me creeping up, right? And now, of course, I could go back and tell you, well, I went to Orlando, Florida for a pageant where I went to Disney World and caught the COVID, and everyone in my family caught the COVID. Then I went on a Covey run, right? Then I had, this thing and then that thing, then a friend's wedding, like all these sort of normal sort of life coming at you real fast in all different types of ways that my system is built to create defenses against. But if you let down your defenses and you begin to slip, you end up in a slump. But the beauty of it is I have this month of data that I can look at that shows me really what I did and ultimately why I did it, right? And I'm remotivated on like, okay, look at you. You've been so strong for, a year and a half, and all of a sudden you slightly faded, you know what I mean? And for me, because I track it and measure it, and these are these intangible things that are irrelevant to a lot of different aspects of people's lives as it relates to tracking being important to me, is where I say how it's really each person independently what they need to track, but that slump and that information is still higher numbers than I did in all of 2020. Right, I still am at like a higher level than I have been in the previous years since I've been collecting data. So it's a bit of a slide, but I know exactly how much I have slid, and then I saw how it affected the quality of my life. So what does it make me want to do? Get back in it. You know what I mean? I'm overcorrecting in September. We're going to have 90s across the board, And that's sort of the beauty of what really deeply measuring and using these data points does as it relates to motivation, right? And really pushing you to continue to not only better yourself and make improvements in certain aspects, but then, keep yourself more disciplined and keep yourself sustainable and growing at a higher level, and to me, I'm still, I've tracked so many aspects of my life and grown and evolved these numbers over time in such a way that it's even when I slump on the health data, I still know that like, hey man, since 2016, I've 10x'd my net worth. I know, I've 30x'd my real estate portfolio, right? Like I know when I look at sort of these core things that I can measure financially, what I consider financial harmony, my personal expenses versus my cash flowing real estate versus my ordinary income, right? Like I look at all of these measurable financial numbers, and one complete dashboard all the way to the value of each of the companies in the Dyrdek machine and my personal value. Like I constantly track all of that with the intent of only to grow it year over year over year, setting goals and then then inside those numbers becomes the learning, the improving, the optimization, right? Now you learn about certain operators on and certain aspects of the type of buildings you would want to invest in, the type of companies you want to invest in. You begin to take a tighter look at how you're managing your money and what you're growing it into as it relates to having a number, having a goal, and having something measurable, and the thing is mine's complex. Mine's incredibly complex, right? I rate the writers of ridiculousness and grade every time they send me a show. I grade it 0 to 10, right? Like, and what is that for? That's for to, now they have a number, and then we talk about why this one got a 3, and then they begin to gain further insight to optimize and improve it even further. It's all of these different ways of measuring different aspects of my life are built to just give me insight to either, help evolve me, help make things better, help keep me more consistent. But above all, man, they make me happy. They make me happy. They make me feel like I can, like I have something I can point to where everything that I'm doing and everything that I'm creating is working. And for the things that aren't working, or there's friction inside it, or they're not improving, or I'm having trouble, it's like, what system or solution can you put in place to solve that or create that? But I'm extreme. I'm extreme. There's no doubt when it comes to like creating and measuring, I'm an outlier. You know what I mean? And I know like it's crazy to a lot of people, but it's effortless to me. You know what I mean? It's like how I track and manage all of the different KPIs and different sort of core measurements in my life. Like I just want more and more. I love it. I enjoy it. But that's me. And here's the absolute most important thing when it comes to measurement is that you do it consistently and that you commit to not only measuring it, but then setting goals on where you want it to go so that you can understand what you need to change or evolve to get to that goal. And you must understand it. I just think when the Seth quote hits you with like, hey, you shouldn't be busy measuring things that are not important. I just think that they're important to you, and they have to be also easy for you to measure, right? It's like you have to, when you think about the most important things that you would like to track that are going to make your life better, whatever that is, that's health numbers, that's time with family, that's financial numbers, that's career and income goals, whatever any of those measurable things are that you want to track that'll make your life better, you've got to create them in a way that they are not only important to you, but you will stay committed to tracking them, because it's that consistency in tracking them over the long time that not only gives you motivation and inspiration, but it's also the validation of how far you have come and how much tracking and then improving has ultimately improved your life, and again, it's something you grow into, and it's a skill that you build over time, because it becomes, somewhat cumbersome if you feel like, oh, I got to track this thing again, and then, okay, what is it even doing for me? Is it, if you're not getting anything out of it and it's not important to you, then you're not going to stay motivated to keep tracking it and keep making improvements to make it better or hit your goals, especially if it really doesn't feel like it is worth it. And again, I think it's on you to look at your life, look at all the different ways that you could create these different core measurements, if you will, that are easy, that you know would inspire you, and ultimately you want to see get better, see get higher, see get more consistent, and leading you to a better life, and for me, it's like, once I got past the threshold in 2020, and why I say 2020 was sort of like the year that I finally broke through as it related to all aspects of sort of measuring all the different systems in my life and putting numbers and goals to everything. Because when I finally began to see all my qualitative data and my gamified quantitative health stuff together and see how connected it all was, and then began to feel that connection to like my output as it related to my performance at ridiculousness, to how I was building the machine, how I was with my wife and family. When you begin to see all of these different things connect together, man, then I'm like extra inspired to like give me more to measure, right? And even then, in 2021, when I went through and now had all this amazing automation to the data, and being able to look at all of these different scores and the qualitative side and connected to all that, man, it really motivated me. And then my goal was, okay, I'm going to average 20 total score for my qualitative score, which is my quality of life score. And I was going to stay 80% of my quantitative physical discipline stuff, physical and mental discipline stuff. And I did that in the whole year. It's like, but because I measured it and then created it, saw what it, like the output in all aspects of my life, then I got motivated. Then I did it for the entire year, which makes me even more sad to be able to sit here and tell you guys I'm slumping. I'm out here slumping. I am starting a brand new month today, knowing that I just had the worst month that I've had in a year and a half. You know what I mean? And it's sad and amazing at the same time. And again, it's super complex for me in the way that I do it, but it's easy because I've done it for so long and I got better at doing it over time, And I think about how powerful it is and how important it is, and just continually try to figure out new ways to add new data points, right? From an Aura ring and now doing sleep data and readiness data, added supplements, tracking supplements to my daily core health tracking, and look, I'm not as disciplined and hardcore as I seem to be, and really I am. I'm a little sheepish to say I'm not. I still, again, I'm slumping. I got hit with a slump month, and sometimes I try to track things. Like I made a commitment to doing 2 social posts a day and created a system to track it. I did 2 organic social posts in 60 days. 60 days. I created a system to track myself to do 2 organic social posts a day. I did 1 a month. I did 1 a month for 60 days, okay? So it's not, it's not a matter of it working every single time. I just wasn't quite ready to dedicate the mind share and make the commitment to social media, as the system wouldn't do it for me. And tracking it enough did not gamify it enough for me. But eventually I will get that number up, because that number is very, very low right now. But it's just very important, for you to create these core measurements in your life that matter the most to you, that you will track daily, weekly, monthly, yearly basis that ultimately will give you the insight to create goals, to reach bigger numbers, get more consistent, that will motivate you and be markers of your current state and where you want to go. Measurement is truly one of the most amazing things that you can apply to your life, and one of the best skills that you can develop to continually evolve in a systematic way towards meaningful change and ultimately becoming the best version of yourself, which is really what we're all trying to do out here. But hey, don't be too tough on yourself. Make it easy to measure, but not too easy. Make it important so that you'll want to do it and stay consistent. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. That discipline and consistency is what you're chasing, and growing and evolving in a systematic way is the gift that the universe has given us that allows us to perpetually evolve into our limitless possibilities. All right, there you have it. Another episode of Build with Rob, just ranting on all things life, business, art, science, magic, just trying to do what we can to live a harmonious, high-quality life. Again, wherever you listen to the show, thank you. Like, subscribe. You want to see what we got going on at the Dyrdek Machine? Everything's at dyrdekmachine.com. And you know what it is. We stay looking to the future. We stay making sure we know where we're going, and then we put the effort in to get there. Until next time, see it, believe it, do it.